Gordon, curious, would you start a business again?
Well, today I probably wouldn't because it takes a certain amount of energy. You need to have a spark in your eye every time you get out of bed in the morning and you've got to just jump and go at it. Could I do that today? I have to be honest with myself. No. I could help people do that today, but myself, I could not. I would love to do it today, but I want to devote what time that I have to helping kids participate in sports, giving them the opportunity and to some degree, even the financial sources to do so.
Building a legacy starts with the bold decision to take a leap of faith. Behind every empire lies a foundation of grit, willpower, and the courage to take big risks. Welcome to Entrepreneurship Unlocked, where world shakers in the business world gather to share their stories. We're diving deep into the mindset of the modern entrepreneur to show you exactly what it takes to become truly unlocked. Join us in the pursuit of excellence with your host, Seth Rudin. This is Entrepreneurship Unlocked.
Welcome back to Entrepreneur Unlocked. I am Seth Rudin, your trusted M&A business broker in the Pacific Northwest, and I am joined here by somebody I have a tremendous amount of respect, Mr. Gordon Lacey.
Good morning, Seth.
So glad you're here. I had the opportunity to sell Gordon's business. It's called Winners Sportswear, and today we're going to talk about a couple things. How did you start Winners Sportswear, and what made Winners Sportswear so successful? I really appreciate you being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Can you tell the audience a little about yourself, your background, and your passion for sports?
I grew up in a small town called Pitcher Butte, Alberta, in Canada. There's about 800 people when I was living there. It's about 1,500, 1,600 today. So it hasn't grown that much. But the main thing for me, growing up on a farm for the first, 6, 7 years of my life, and then moving into the small town where you had running water and electricity was a real treat. But sports was my passion since day one. I did not want to be a farmer, and I did not want to work in my mother's small grocery store. So I participated in just about every sport that we had. But in Canada,
This was in Canada. What sports were they?
well, in Canada, you learn how to skate before you walk.
I thought that was before you were born.
Before, and then right after that, you learn how to curl. So curling and baseball became my passions in sports. From there, not wanting to stay on in the small town, I went to San Jose. First enrolled at USF and to take a summer school course and to stay in the country. And then I thought my baseball career was going to take off there, but the coach, I still remember this, he says, "Gordon, you need more seasoning." So he says, "Here's a junior college. Let's go over to Kalinga Junior College, enroll in school there, and perhaps give up the idea of playing and go into teaching and coaching," which I did. So graduated from San Jose State and got my first job at a Catholic parochial school in Mountain View, California. And they didn't really have a PE program or even an athletic program. So my biggest challenge was walking into a place that had practically no facilities, no equipment, but they were going to become an accredited high school, so they needed physical education. So that's where I got started with my teaching and coaching career. I had a tremendous staff. At the time I was there was only about 220 students. And when I left, it was down to about 75 students. But the main thing for me was, yes, to establish the PE program, which every student had to take for 2 times a week, and also the intramural program that was there prior to me coming, in which everybody had to participate, which I think today, if schools had an intramural program in their school system, it would be beneficial for everybody because it gave you the opportunity for, say, a non-gifted athlete to play with a gifted athlete, and it brought them together and then made this close-knit family in the school.
That's great. You got some similarities. So my good best friend, he played baseball at USF, ironically, probably years apart, but it's a great school. I've been on your campus. Great institution. It sounds like a an amazing place. So let's jump in. How did you actually become an entrepreneur from establishing a great PE program in sports at this high school to getting into winter sportswear?
Well, the first thing you do is get to know who you're working with and what it is that they want. I got to know all the work people. I mean, it was on about 500 acres of land, so it's a big facility. So I adapted my thinking to what they already had and then just tried to improve on what they had. So there again, the intramural system was the key. And then from that, then I had to convince the faculty that you had to offer, in addition to intramurals, a sport that they could compete in for those more gifted athletes. And that's where we established soccer became our main sport, even though we had cross country, basketball, and baseball. But those sports were played on a JV level, but soccer we played on a varsity level, in which we were very successful. So, but I have to go back and thank all the staff, the employees that worked on the grounds, and the students themselves, because without their dedication, we would have never been as successful as we were.
Great and wonderful. So you started Winter Sportswear in what year? And was it like starting a new business, or how did that go?
I believe it was 2022. My grandson, I had sold a business prior to Winners called Pro Time Sports. So I stayed, we'll say, unemployed for a few years, but I was taking my grandson to a soccer game, who was only 10 at the time. And I noticed that his recreation uniform set was $80. So the president of this club, Lake Hills Youth Soccer Club, I said, Scott, you can't have these kids paying $80 for just a jersey, short, and socks. He said, Gordon, he said, if you don't like it, do something about it. So I did. I started Winter Sportswear.
Attaboy. And how did you fund it? How did that all work? How did you start a business?
Well, fortunately, I had sufficient funds from the sale of two previous businesses, High Five Sportswear that we sold to Augusta Sportswear, and Pro Time Sports that I sold my shares to my partner, John Moore. He was much younger than I am, so I thought it would be the wisest thing for me to do would be to sell my shares and let him continue on. Businesses require us a great amount of energy and time, and I saw that myself energy level was going down, or at least staying the same, and his energy level was on the rise. So I thought that was the best thing to do.
For the audience who may not know, what is a sportswear company? What were the products and services that Winter Sportswear sells, which they are currently still in business, with your successor?
With the main focus was on soccer, because soccer is just about all I know, the soccer business and even the soccer community. But we couldn't just stay with soccer, so we had to expand into the other sports, which is baseball, basketball, volleyball. The only sport that we didn't have was hockey, because hockey was a very more specialized than what I'm familiar with. So we stayed with those sports, got involved with instruction, apparel, got involved with the online school orders. So it's a
little more specific. Am I getting a uniform? Am I getting a screen printed T-shirt, a poster? What do I get when I contact Winter Sportswear? And I'm the athletic director for a local high school.
You can get a package. They do their own embroidery. They contract out the silk screening, and they also do their heat transfer machines they have. So you get a complete package.
The package would be if it's a baseball team like what I coach for fun, you would have a shirt that say the name of my team and a number for the player, maybe his name on the back.
Correct.
A matching pants and belt.
Correct.
And a hat with the stitched emblem.
Correct.
And then maybe some socks to go with it.
Correct.
Great. And then maybe a sports bag.
And a sports bag, yeah. All the accessories that go with that sport.
Basketball, you get a jersey and a top and a bottom. And
yes.
Socks still on.
Yeah. But fortunately, I was able to have people work that were specialized in that field. For example, Greg Chapman, who now works for Winners, is very acquainted with baseball. And Patrick, very acquainted with soccer and construction and online school orders, apparel.
What I thought was great was the individual websites that your company provided to your teams, clubs. They could order, the parents could order their hype clothes to support the team. I thought you did a fantastic job of getting the products out in the hands of the consumer and the teams.
Yes, that is an asset. And that's probably not an asset that I have, is understanding the sales that your website can bring in.
I mean, you sold this business when I sold it, you're at a pretty young age, right?
I sold that at a young age.
So you sold Winter Sportswear at a young age.
Yes, I guess I did.
Yes. Gordon, curious, would you start a business again?
Well, today I probably wouldn't, because it takes a certain amount of energy. You need to have a spark in your eye every time you get out of bed in the morning, and you've got to just jump and go at it. Could I do that today? I have to be honest with myself. No. I could help people do that today, but myself, I could not. I would love to do it today, but I want to devote what time that I have to helping kids participate in sports, giving them the opportunity and to some degree, even the financial sources to do so.
What would you say made Winter Sportswear so successful?
Their employees.
Awesome. That's a pretty clear answer. I love it.
There's no other answer than that.
You can't replace the people behind the value that customers receive, can you?
Yes, you cannot.
We sold your business in 23. Can you share how you knew it was time to sell?
When you wake up in the morning, as I said a few minutes ago, you have to have that spark in your eye. You have to have that fight. You have to have that competitiveness. And I'm very realistic. If I see myself slipping in any area, then I have to fill in that area with an employee. It was time for me to move on and let someone else take it over that has the energy to not just maintain the business, but to grow the business.
And we did a really good job of running the business, and your team was all pretty much stayed, after you left. So that means that they really love what they do.
Yes, the entire team is still there, and I just wish them the best of luck every day.
Can you share with the audience, how was the process of exiting your business?
Well, thanks to you, Seth, I didn't exit at the time that I had chosen to exit. You advised me to stay on for another 6 months to a year, which I did. And we stabilized the business a lot. We offered more to the buyer. It gave them security when they purchased it. And so that was a good bit of advice that you gave me. So thank you.
Great. And when we made the process easy for you?
Yes, you did. Everything went quite well. I think we closed it within 30 days. I wanted to close it at the end of the year just so that they could start fresh in the new year. So that we did.
Close the transaction, not close the business. The business
close
still
the transaction,
exists.
correct.
The transaction still exists today, and it's thriving, right?
Yes.
Any last words of wisdom to your fellow peer business owners and entrepreneurs?
I think I could probably sum that up by a quote of John Wooden, if I could take a minute to find it. John Wooden once said, former coach at UCLA, he said, and I've taken this to heart, and I use that as a guideline for myself. He says, number 1, discipline yourself and others won't need to. Number 2, never lie. Number 3, never steal. Number 4, earn the right to be proud and confident. Number 5, never score without acknowledging a teammate. And the last one, treat your opponent with respect. I could relate all of those to becoming a successful, we'll say, entrepreneur with the several businesses that I owned and sold.
Those are great words of wisdom, Gordon. I'm going to share that if you're okay, I'm going to share that with my travel competitive baseball team that I coach.
Oh, you could share it with as many people as you want.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining this podcast and sharing your story, Gordon. I appreciate it. I'm sure that the those in the audience do too. Please follow on us at YouTube, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and on LinkedIn. Have a great day till the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.